What's going on, y'all? This video gonna be quick, okay? This is College Hill Season 2 Celebrity Edition. I think this is episode 7, and I believe next week will be episode 8, which will be the finale. And basically, this episode was the aftermath of everything that went down the prior episode with the fight between Amber Rose and Jocelyn. You know what? Jocelyn really didn't help herself out. Like, with this whole situation, I mean, given the fact that this fight happened last week, and then on this episode, well, before this episode even can come on and we get the results of what's going to happen, she get into another fight. She get into a whole nother fight, like a real fight, for real, for real. And she get arrested or whatever and all of that stuff. And, you know, it's a bunch of mess. I'm going to be real with y'all. I was shocked as ever when I found out that Jocelyn was going to be on this show, okay? Granted, not saying that she's above or whatever, you know, to be on a show like this. I just, being on BET, being how she is on Zeus, and, you know, how she is regular, I just wouldn't expect her to be even wanting to do something like this on College Hill or whatever. I will say this. Jocelyn, she tried. For the most part, I'm not going to say she tried to change her ways or to give a different perception of her. She showed that she can be a normal person. She showed that she can be cool and calm and collected. But she also showed that Jocelyn, the Jocelyn that we came to know her as, is still very much there. Okay? And it's one thing to be outspoken, and it's one thing to feel the way that you feel, but it's also about respecting other people as well. And that's where Jocelyn falls short. Jocelyn don't know how to respect people. And I don't know if it's because of the way that she was raised, you know, the environment, the conditions, all of that, that tough girl exterior, not trying to let anybody rule over her or whatever, because that's what's been going on in her life. And now she's trying to, you know, do that to other people. I have no idea. But the things that went down in this episode or last week's episode was unacceptable on both parts. And I'm not one of those people that's going to sit here like I did last week. I told y'all both of them needed to go. And that's exactly what wound up happening in this episode. So the house is, and I'm not just going to put it on Jocelyn, because even though Jocelyn got a certain personality, Amber Rose had an issue with her from the get-go. And when I found out, when they put it out there that they was cool at one point, you know what I'm saying? Like, they used to converse with each other in the DMs and all that stuff, whatever. I was shocked. I was shocked because of the tension and everything that was happening, which goes to tell that they did not hang out prior to this. And, you know, it was just, sometimes you like people on social media, and when you meet them in person, they totally turn your stomach, or you get a different perception or viewpoint of them, and that just changed how you view them. And that's what it seemed like happened between Amber and Jocelyn, okay? And I was just like, Jocelyn has the potential of being a cool chick, you know what I'm saying? But she just so freaking rough, and she always want to just, whatever she says goes. She don't want to hear anybody else's thoughts. She don't, it's her way or the highway, okay? I'm in charge, I'm the boss or whatever. And I mean, it's cool for them, for some parts, but to do that and not listen to people when we're having a discussion, and to just respect the person and what they want to be called and what they want to be identified as, it was just ridiculous on her part or whatever. So, you know, the whole house is just shaken by this. And to be honest, if I was there, I wouldn't be so like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. And oh my God, I just don't know what to do. Because they acting like they ain't never seen a fight. Maybe because it happened in the setting that it happened, but they literally acting like they never seen a fight, or as if they did not realize that this was going to happen, or that it was building up to this. I mean, if Quay saw it, we saw it. We know how she is. We know how Amber could be probably. Like, it was oil and water. It was oil and water. And we just knew it was going to clash at one point. And so to act like, oh my God, I can't believe they fought. And oh, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm like, y'all done seen fights before. But again, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and make it because they actually cared about each other or grew to care about each other. And then the fact that it happened in the classroom and they wasn't expecting it to happen in the classroom and all that in front of the professor, in front of other students and all. So there's that. But, you know, they go have the meetings with Dr. Petty, okay? And Amber comes in there and she was like, I hope she understands where I'm coming from and I hope I get to, you know, stay. And I said, girl, you're not going to stay. You're not going to stay because you're the main one who violated the rules. The main rule that was put out there when y'all first came there on y'all first day, where she said no fighting, no drugs, none of that stuff, alcohol on campus or whatever. And that is exactly what you did. Now, maybe if this fight probably would have went down in the house, maybe Amber and Jocelyn would have probably stayed, but y'all was literally up in the classroom on ASU campus, okay? So y'all was literally at the university when this fight went down, and, you know, other people could have got hurt, you know. So for Amber to come in there, first of all, I just really didn't understand why Dr. Petty asked her to go ahead and tell her side of the story when you already knew what you had already had made up in your mind. I said, so what was the point of her telling her the story? You know, and we get it. Amber got expelled or she got kicked out the program because, you know, you violated the whole rule. You hit her first. Granted, it's a natural thing to get upset, to have it build and to snap. You were triggered. Understandable, because Jocelyn was antagonizing, Jocelyn was pushing, Jocelyn was provoking, okay? And Jocelyn did all of that by using her words. She was nicking, and ticking away at her to get her to get to that point, right? Amber snapped because she'd been trying to avoid her ever since they first came into the house. We got to go back to see episode 1 and see throughout the season the issues that's been building up between Amber and Jocelyn. Amber just didn't like the way Jocelyn was working. And mind you, Jocelyn picked one victim and then she moved on to the next victim. Okay? She wasn't here for, first she went at Tiffany. Then she went at Parker. Now she at, you know, what's her name? Amber. But before that, she also went at Quay. So it's like, you know, when they was arguing about the ox cord and stuff. So you got that, and it was just somebody was bound to put their hands on her or curse her out, you know, really, really good. But Amber went on ahead and took it a step further that shouldn't have happened by putting her hands on the girl. And you actually thought that you was going to be able to stay. Like, Dr. Petty had her sit there and tell her what was up. Okay, and I understood where she was coming from, because regardless of, like, I would know, and if we are not in that position of being of mixed race, being biracial or whatever, we would never understand that plight. And I know some of us black folks, we get annoyed when we hear, you know, biracial people keep on talking about, oh, the stuff that they had to go through when they be biracial and all this stuff, you know, just as much as I'm pretty sure you got some folks that want to be insensitive to when dark-skinned people talk about the issues that they go through. You know, like, okay, we get it. But no, we have to keep having these conversations, because unfortunately, stuff like what happened on this show keeps happening. People don't respect people, you know what I'm saying, for who they are, you know, and that's just what it is. And Amber was like, you know, the way she came onto the show and she was talking about her racial mountain, which was not being good enough for anybody, whether white or black, or not fitting in or feeling that way. Jocelyn, as a person, you're supposed to sit there and listen. Nobody else is talking. Nobody else is questioning anybody else. You open up your mouth and you keep on going back and forth at her and trying to debate her on what her racial mountain is. We're not talking about you. We're talking about her. So for her to interject and to keep on going back and forth and trying to debate her down as to how she feels and what she felt she went through, that was wrong. That was 100% wrong, okay? And I don't care how you want to slice it or whatever, that was wrong, you know. And then to tell the girls you just don't want to be black and all this stuff, you don't know her. You don't know her to tell her that and to feel like you have the right to say that to her, you know. And you were, Jocelyn, you was picking at that girl, calling her whitey or saying we ain't got no whites up in here. We got to have, you know, we got to have Amber, she half white or whatever. But at the same time, did you notice? She didn't say nothing about Parker. So it literally, she was coming at Amber because Parker is also half white. Amber has a white father. Parker has a white mother. She didn't say nothing about Parker. Or maybe she don't consider, you know, Parker and Amber the same because Amber is lighter skinned than Parker. You know, I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Or because Parker never really, Parker has said something about that. She understands Amber's plight about being biracial, you know, and identifying, trying to figure out what she identifies as to respect both sides of her. And I just don't understand in certain cases how come people get upset when a person say that they're mixed race or when they say that they're biracial instead of just saying I'm white or I'm black. That doesn't mean that they're neglecting the fact that they're black or neglecting the fact that they're white. They're telling you that they're mixed race, meaning that they embrace both sides, as they should, because they're both. I don't understand. Like, we make stuff, oh, it's just so ignorant. But Amber really was like, but she was coming at me and she was this, but she didn't cry. But she was trying to make her case. And once she finished, Dr. Petty said, that's all good and well, but you violated the code and you got to go. I said, that Dr. Petty, why you had her sit there and say all of that just to go ahead and tell her, baby, we already had it made up in our mind that you got to go. Okay, you got to go. You know, Amber was like, that's cool. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You know, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to finish this out. She wound up telling the house that, you know, she gonna be gone. I think she did come up there and she, you know, got her stuff, gave Tiffany one of her Versace robes and all that stuff. And it was a cool outing, okay? You know, of course, she regrets what happened and she understands the severity of it. And you got to deal with the consequences. And I understand that she feels as though, you know, she shouldn't have left. But if we're going to be fair, you can't. And I don't want to say, I don't want to say it's like she was trying to use, I don't know, should I say like white privilege or whatever? Like she was going to be able to weasel her way out of that just because that girl was talking about her. But you got physical with her. You got physical with her. So, and not only did you get physical with her, girl, you threw the first punch, okay? Now, moving on from that, Jocelyn finally come up in there and, you know, Jocelyn, this big badass, she start crying automatically. You know, she crying and, you know, and I'm just sitting there and I'm just telling what, and it's like freedom of speech and all this stuff. And then she just come up in there and she just hippie. And I'm like, you talking about that you don't want to be black or whatever. And I'm just telling her that you don't want to be black. And it's like, because when I get over here and I was over there in Puerto Rico, they tell me that, you know, I don't want to be Hispanic. I just want to be labeled as black because then I come up, girl, I understand it. I understand it, okay? I get that you try to embrace the fact that you're a black woman. Understandable. We get it. We know, okay? And you probably do because we haven't experienced that because, you know, we're not Spanish or whatever. People probably telling you that you're trying to neglect the fact that you're Spanish, which I don't understand how that can be the case when you literally call yourself the Puerto Rican princess, okay? And she do music in English and most of her music that actually sound decent is in Spanish. So I don't understand that and if that's really a real thing. But see, I'm not going to say that you didn't experience that the way that you said that Amber trying not to be black. She don't want to be black. Okay. Amber not one time said that you don't want to be, since you up here always saying that you black, that you don't want to be a Spanish person, that you don't want to be a Latina, that you don't want to be, you know, known as that. And you just want to be purely black. She never said that. But you came at her saying that she don't want to be black. She want to be white. All right, do you understand where we coming from? And then for you to sit there and cry and to keep on using it. First of all, you acting in line and stuff, talking about some, you know, she came at you or whatever and all this stuff. Girl, you started that. You started it once you got up into that classroom, okay? And once you first started talking and then when Amber started talking and then you kept interjecting the whitey comment all of that. You was going at her. Okay, you antagonized the fuck out of that situation. Now you up here crying, trying to play victim. At the end of the day, because when Dr. Petty was trying to tell her, we are in this code of conduct where you, and in this place, an environment where you have to respect and you have to listen and allow people to have a safe space to say exactly what it is that they need to say. And you cannot just come at them and be disrespectful. And that is exactly what Jocelyn was doing. And Jocelyn didn't understand it. And I just couldn't understand how come she didn't understand that regardless of how you may feel, it's not about you. It's about that person. In this particular situation, Amber was going off about how she felt as she was growing up, what she's going through currently, because obviously Amber is going through something like a change. I don't know. She's going through something where she is trying to find out who she really is. And then she's being open with the class by putting these issues out there so people can understand that this happens. But then you're going to come at her and then accuse her of saying something that she didn't say. She never said she didn't want to be black. She just said she didn't fit in, or she felt like she didn't fit in, or she felt like people didn't like her like that because, you know, she wasn't 100% black or she wasn't 100% white, which no one is, to be honest, you know. And I'm just sitting here like, Jocelyn, why is it not getting through? Because she wants her way to be the way, and she wants whatever she's thinking in her answer and her viewpoint to be that and be fact, and it is not. And then to keep on throwing up in there about, you know, it's freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want because of freedom of speech. Yes, it's freedom of speech, baby, but you don't have freedom of consequences. And that freedom of speech that you use to come at Amber and to tell her about her racial identity and to tell her how she should identify as, when you have no right to do that, the consequences got you knocked up in the head, as you said, got your fingernail broken, scratched up and all that stuff, and now got your ass expelled. Freedom of speech does not mean freedom of consequences, okay? Yeah, you could use freedom of speech to use a racial slur, but the consequence, you're not going to be free from the consequences that might happen with you getting your ass whooped, or you getting popped in the face, or you getting cussed out, or something even more. You know what I'm saying? So let's not doing that, Jocelyn. And I get she probably feels a way, and I can understand feeling a way that she got kicked out because, again, as she want to say, she was defending herself. But, baby, you provoked all of that. And I think the right thing happened. Both of them should have went, and they did get kicked out. Of course, she told Ray J what was going on, and, you know, they had a conversation, and he wanted her to come to the house and, you know, give a real standoff, or I should say send-off or whatever. And, you know, she kind of knew that half the house didn't want to fuck with her, because when she really did come up there, Parker and Quay weren't there. And Parker, I understood, because she felt offended by some of the stuff that, you know, Jocelyn was saying too, because again, she is mixed race. She is mixed race as well. I do appreciate BET for bringing in the author. I wish I could remember her name. I think she named the book called One Drop, and basically had this whole discussion about colorism. You know what I'm saying? And it is sad that in 2023, we still have black folks and people in general that do not know what colorism is, but partake in colorism. Okay. And some people benefit from colorism, you know, and that's really sad. And I like the fact that they put it out there, like, we coming at each other about being, you know, this color, that color of black, when the white folks that we trying to impress or whatever really don't give a fuck about us. Okay? They really don't care. You know what I'm saying? All of this is built up in white supremacy. All of this is built up in slavery, all just so we can cut each other down. And they can just look at us like, look at them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, light skin, dark skin, mocha, caramel, we still niggas to them. So, and we still not going to be so-called equal to them in their eyes. So, you know, why are we doing this to each other? Why can't we just be equal to each other? You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's really a disheartening thing that we still have to go through, and I hate it. I really hate it. And I hate the fact that some people who have certain advantages cannot admit that they have certain advantages. Like, I would never sit here and say, you know, even though I go up for my dark-skinned people that, oh, I've never had an advantage because I was light-skinned. I would never sit up here and say a lie like that to make myself sound like as if I can relate to y'all. No, I'm not going to sit up here and lie to y'all like that. Now, is it fair? No. But do I know that it happens? Yes. And it is okay to acknowledge shit like that. All right. Moving on from that. So Jocelyn leaves. Tiffany and Orion. Tiffany and Orion was like or I should say Tiffany was the comedic relief for this episode to break up the whole humdrum of it all, because Tiffany was trying to set her trap to get Orion, baby, and then was trying to pull Quay into it too. Quay was like, I mean, they have been flirting heavy or whatever for the past week, but I don't know how I got pulled up into this, but I'm gonna let them do what they gotta do. Girl, she trying to see that dick. Now, did Tiffany say she had a white man at home? Did she say she had a white man at home? And I'm saying it like that because that's what she said. She got a white man, right? Why is you up here trying to play around with Orion? Makes me think that, you know, you either had it arranged with your man saying that, you know, whatever goes down and it's okay, or you really ain't got one. That's what it makes me feel like. And either way, I'm like, if he gonna sling it out and you want it, go ahead and get it. He like rubbed my back and all that stuff. They was up in there. I said, oh my goodness. How in the world did that happen? All right. But that was funny. Seeing Iman take the initiative to want to learn how to sew and stitch, you know, because he's having a clothing brand coming out. And then he was talking about a hoodie and the sentimental value about it and, you know, sewing it on and the stitch work and all that stuff himself. I was very much here for that. And, you know, that was, I think, basically the episode. And if I missed anything, we could talk about it in the comments. But next week is the finale episode. And truth be told, I don't know. You know, honestly, I feel as though either, you know, given that I feel like they have like one more week left. They have one more week left for school. It's a possibility, given the situation, that they could have, given that they only got a few more days left, they could have let Jocelyn and, you know, Amber complete the program because they only got a few more days left. But, you know, take some points off their grades or whatever. But at the end of the day, I understand following policy. And if that's the rules and the policy is no fighting or you'll get expelled, it don't matter how many days you got left or whatever. And that's just what happened. And, you know, you have nobody to blame but yourself. And at the end of the day, I just know, like, Jocelyn ain't learned from this. Jocelyn ain't learned from this. But y'all tell me how y'all felt about the episode. And I will see you guys later. Like, I literally just came into the house and sat my ass right here, turned the camera on so I wouldn't forget what I just watched. But y'all tell me how y'all feel, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.